you. Don't you dare protect yourself. We're gonna handle that. We're gonna protect you, right? And then if you do think that you have the power to protect yourself, we're gonna punish you. Like that's exactly what they did with Harry. Because there's my fellow Harry Potter nerds. This is Kimmer's Hogwarts channel. Today I talked a lot about guns, and I wanted to keep that theme. And in Harry Potter, there's an interesting weapons argument that's made. Actually, I think it's a good 2A argument. The wizard's wand is as much of a tool. It's very similar to a gun, right? It's also a weapon. It's not just this magical tool that they use in life. They also use it to duel, and they can use it to duel violently, right? It's got this range of magical capabilities that it can do, and a huge function that Harry uses his wand for is to protect his life. And that's interesting that he's allowed to do that. It's interesting that he's allowed to protect his own life, even from a really young age. And there used to be gun clubs in school, like way back in the day. So the argument that I'm going to make, or what I'm going to point out, is that the Harry Potter story, particularly in the trial that takes place in, is the 6th book or the 5th book, where he has to go in because he's going to be potentially expelled because he used magic to protect himself from a Dementor, right? I think it's the 5th book, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, it's a 5th book. I can't remember. I can't remember, to be honest. But that always fascinated me and kind of shocked me, because it was like he used a weapon to defend himself. And in America, if you use a weapon to defend yourself, you almost always go to jail, which is really unfair, right? Like, that's kind of the point of a weapon. Like, why would you even be allowed to have a weapon if you weren't allowed to defend yourself with your weapon? Which I'm not suggesting that, anybody go out and harm anybody ever, but like, that's the point of having a weapon, is to use it so that you can defend yourself. And that seems to be this thing that happens in tyrannical societies, when societies are going bad, when people try to protect their life, like when they try to take the right to protect their own life in their own hands, to stop their own consciousness from being snuffed out with the powers vested in them by the Constitution in America. It now is a thing where you actually get in trouble for just protecting your own life, pretty commonly, right? So this is an interesting parallel to American society and to the society in which Harry Potter lives. Another thing that's interesting too is they started taking away the wands from Muggles too, right? They started preventing them from being able to defend themselves or be able to use magic, and that's what happens in every society that goes bad, right? Like, the first thing they do is say, get the guns out of here. We don't want people being individuals. We don't want people to think they have the right to protect their own life. We don't think they're smart enough to have the responsibility. We don't think that they're smart enough to be able to take care of themselves. Let the government, like group identity, take care of it. And that's this thing. Like, Harry Potter was all about race. It was all about the group identity of wizards and not the individual. Like, what can you do as an individual? Hermione was a half-blood, right? No, she was full-on Muggle, actually. And she has magic powers, and they're like, she shouldn't, because she's a Muggle. Like, oh, did she steal her? No, it's the individual, right? It's just like the dice that you're dealt throughout time. Like, she for some reason had magical powers, because that's just her individual aspects, right? Because the individual is much more important, and that's what gun rights and wands are, right? It's the right to protect yourself as an individual. Your right to be able to defend your own life, right? You don't have to rely on the government. You don't have to rely on somebody else. You don't have to rely on the group. Like, you don't have to rely on some big brother saying, hey, no, we got you. You put those guns away. We got you. Don't you dare protect yourself. We're going to handle that. We're going to protect you, right? And then if you do think that you have the power to protect yourself, we're going to punish you. Like, that's exactly what they did with Harry, because they're starting to become an evil society, right, where they no longer cared about the individual. They just cared about what they thought was for the greater good. Such a crazy message. Such a crazy message in Harry Potter. Harry Potter blows my mind. Anyways, let me know what you guys thought. It's obviously much more complicated than this too, but it's all about the sovereignty of the divine individual. It's a very religious story as well, and I look forward to going to the depths of Harry Potter and all the themes that are in it. Today I'm covering guns on all my channels. I covered it on Kimmer's Boys, Kimmer's Girls. I covered it on Kimmer's Books. I just covered it right now on Kimmer's Hogwarts. All the links for those channels is down in the description. Like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment, and I think I said that twice, so I'm going to go now. Peace.